Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. My name is John.
This is Crystal.
I'm Mark.
We talk about the joys and the challenges of teaching music in the elementary school classroom. We share inspiration, we share struggles, we brainstorm solutions. We would love to have you join us. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of the Chaotic Harmony podcast.
Season 3.
I know, here we go. And this is kind of a very bittersweet episode because it is Mark's last episode.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this, do you?
Kind of do.
You gotta leave?
Mark, my friends, has gone over to the dark side.
I have.
Do you want to tell everybody what you did?
Yeah.
What have you done?
I have accepted the role as Visual and Performing Arts Coordinator for the Chula Vista Elementary School District.
Yay!
So I'm excited, and it's a lot of fun. I've been in the role for about a month and a half, almost 2 months now, and I like it. I do miss the kids, and I do miss teacher life. But I think that we're in a position where we can do some really cool things and continue the work that Lauren really put into the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's bittersweet. Yeah. Definitely.
If you've been following us from the beginning, you heard from Lauren way back in the beginning.
Episode
and she
0.
is a powerhouse, and we were very sad to say goodbye to her.
Yes.
But I cannot tell you the relief that I felt when I found out it was going to be you.
Well, that's comforting. Thanks.
No, seriously.
Yes. Because you're stable and you're reliable and you listen. And I'm excited for where we're going to go.
I think that's the key part, what Crystal said. The last bit, you listen. And it's easy for people to take the wheel and spearhead the direction they want to go. But literally everyone I talk to that's involved, like when they found out, oh, Mark's in charge, cool. And it's good because, yes, you do listen. You listen very well.
Thanks.
I mean, you have to be slightly insane to do this during a pandemic, though.
I know. Yeah, I thought, this would be a great time to join leadership.
Right.
Let me just jump in.
Totally.
And, there's a huge learning curve, and it's a big job, and being able to support so many different teachers at so many different sites in a district that's decentralized. I mean, there are challenges and unique opportunities and unique ways of thinking that I get to do. And that's fun, and I enjoy the problem solving aspect of it. But I really, on the first day of school when kids were back, I sat at my desk and I'm like, oh, I really did this. Oh, this is a real thing, Because before that I was working, it was summer and there weren't kids and whatever, but now it's it's real. Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the difference between working with kids as a teacher and working with big kids like us?
Grown-ups.
Well. You don't have to answer. I've been facetious entirely.
Kids are way more fun, obviously. Kids don't censor, adults do.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
That's actually, that is very true.
And
Kids
now
do not
he wears
censor. Kids do
he
not
wears
censor.
ties.
That's true.
I do.
Yeah.
I
Is
wear
this your
adult
first time
clothes.
wearing a tie on the podcast?
Oh, yeah. Before it was just cardigans and t-shirts.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's official.
Oh, grown up, Mark.
Don't be sad.
I tried to wear a cardigan, but it was so hot.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
San Diego hot's not very hot in comparison to other
It's
places.
83.
But it's still.
They said it reached 90 today. Did it ever reach 90?
I think it did at school for a minute.
It was toasty.
Yeah, no, thank
Yeah.
you.
So I wear a tie, and mainly I just wear a tie so I can roll up my sleeves. Because I feel like it can the tie helps that.
It balances it out.
Yeah,
I get that.
I don't like just wearing a button-up shirt with no tie, just because I'm a little, things about COVID. And so
Whatever.
and so it's okay, it helps kind of break it up, but then I can also do this because I don't love long sleeves. So.
But as you pointed out to the boys, you're wearing your Star Wars socks, so it all balances out somewhere.
All the socks are always a little bit wild.
Yes.
So clearly we need to have more admin on our podcast because we never talk about fashion. Clearly, no, that's not true. No, you mentioned shoes.
Shoes. It always comes back to
Mark
shoes.
always brings back the fancy.
That's true. Okay.
Here's the thing, though.
Why are you leaving us?
I know.
There's starting to be at the district office. So I wore Cole Haans for a long time, and I love Cole Haans. And then Zoe kind of wore them, and then Lauren got into them. And then Lauren got Tony Faddis into them. And so now, and Tony's in our kind of department, and she is she was a former principal. She has a really
She was my former principal.
Yeah, and she got to be
amazing.
my principal for a quarter as she steered the ship during
right,
March of 2020. Yeah, that last quarter.
Oh, man.
And so she's been wearing Cole Haans, and then in our
Sorry, what are Cole Haans?
It's a brand, dude.
Yeah,
it's a brand.
so-
it's like Nike, but not.
Yeah.
That's why you're leaving us. Yes.
Yeah. Just go shopping for John. That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
We'll get you shoes.
Let's do it.
I'm telling you, always comes back to shoes.
Okay.
And then another coordinator in kind of my building wears them, and then we got another coordinator wearing them. So it's Cole Haans are
They're making the rounds.
This
If you want to
episode of
sponsor.
Chaotic Harmony is sponsored
by Cole Haan. Yeah,
You guys
right.
are welcome.
Please sponsor us.
Ooh, now I'm thinking about dressing you up, and we decided we're gonna have a special segment where we go on Coffee Meets Bagel and talk to girls for John.
Oh my gosh. So this is published. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Just want to go on record right now and say I've been helpful in that department.
Round of the week. Making a round.
Yes. I love talking to girls for you.
So welcome to Chaotic Harmony, where we talk
Season
about
3 is already a mess.
fashion. We talk about...
Oh man,
Oh, Lord.
goodness gracious.
I do feel like before we get into more things too, I wanted to acknowledge that Zoe stepped down from the podcast, as I'm sure you noticed last year. And at first, we weren't sure if she was just going to take some space or was going to be coming back. And she has made the decision to kind of take a different direction. So I have a statement from Zoe, and she... so this is what she sent to us. Zoe took a step back from Chaotic Harmony in June 2020 as a practice in self-care. That time of racial reckoning in America necessitated a commitment to personal engagement in learning and unlearning. For a year, her process looked like listening to and reading works by BIPOC activists, journaling, and chewing on ideas during mealtimes with her quarantine pod on the patio. In July 2021, Zoe officially ended her role on the podcast. This coincided with the start of a sabbatical. The first season of the sabbatical looks like studies in care-centered activism, bass playing in an opera band, and half-full glasses of barley tea scattered around her house. Zoe's favorite Chaotic Harmony memories include playing Spiccato with items that Marc and Crystal borrowed from their children. In addition, Zoe enjoyed listening to guests tell stories that demonstrated the multitude of ways to be a music teacher. Zoe is thankful for the CH team, for many laughs, and for listeners' curiosity about how music educators create. So Zoe, we love you, so much. And yeah, it's interesting moving into a new normal without you guys, but I'm really excited for where Zoe's life is going to be headed. Definitely. And for where yours is too.
She's in a band playing bass, like pop opera. What?
Yeah, it's like awesome. Pop jazz opera, and
fantastic.
It's amazing.
I saw a little bit on an Instagram story that she posted. It's like, this is really cool.
It is really cool.
Good for you, Zoe.
So cool.
Yeah.
She'll be missed.
For sure. Yeah, I know. I know. So cheers, my friends, to new beginnings. To your invisible glass there, Marc. Oh, man. Well, life is looking different on the admin side of life. So we are going into our 7th week already of school. I know
7?
Yeah. Next week is going to be the beginning of our 7th week.
Circle still.
It really is. I know. And I remember I was listening back to some old episodes, and we were saying in one of them, when the 4 of us were on the table, like in that episode, the last in-person one we did, like right when everything shut down and we weren't sure what to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We still don't know
what it was going to feel like to be back in the classroom with kids. Again, after all of this was over. And at the time, we thought maybe it was going to be a month.
Oh. You guys did.
Oh,
I know.
I don't think it was going to be this long, but oof, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely didn't think it was going to be 15 months. Jeez. So, yeah, now we're back.
We're back. Yeah.
You're not.
No.
You're back.
Yeah.
In a
Yes
very
and
different
no.
position.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, who saw that coming, you know, at the time? Yeah.
I get to print very large music standards and give them to you
Yes,
guys.
you do.
Yes, you did.
I asked Marc for a new copy of the music standards, and he gave them on like poster size paper.
11 by 17.
Wait, was it 11 by 17?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think Hans' quote was, "I feel like the standards are yelling at me."
Use them, guys.
Students will be able to.
What you should have done, what you should have been is very non-eco-friendly, and each standard should have just taken the space of one.
Well, then I could have just put it on the board and be like, "Look, principal,
I don't think I'd have a board
standard
anymore.
on the board."
Your standards are on the board.
I am the standard. Just post on myself.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll put it into my clothes.
Oh, better yet, no, we should make T-shirts and then give it to kids.
There you go.
And it's like, oh,
Send them around
Jason,
the school.
Jason's what we're doing today. Jason.
He's the standard
Jason
of the day.
comes stand in front of the class, all class.
Yep.
Post for us.
Yep.
So I get to do fun things like that.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite essential question is how do musicians make creative decisions? That one's pretty much permanently on my board. Like, look.
Yep.
Standard.
We're doing it.
I did the thing. Check. Just kidding. We love standards.
I mentioned this to you, but you didn't get the reference. I mentioned to you, like, you taking the next position over now after Lauren, essentially. It was like kind of like a James Bond move. Then we have this, Sean Connery's gone, but now you're in.
And my Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan several iterations afterwards. Mind you, okay, I mean that's a bad take, but it's like you're taking over. You're taking the mantle and whatnot. I love the different spin. Both of you had different personas for this position, and yet you're taking very different. And I love both.
I've had a few people say, "Oh, so Mark's the new Lauren," and I get like offended on your behalf, and I'm like, "No, he is the Mark."
I've said I'm the new Lauren to people at the district. Like, I'm the new VAP coordinator. They look at me like I'm the new Lauren. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Look at the Mark.
Yeah.
He's the Mark.
But, and here's the thing. And we're a mess already.
He's the fabulous Mark.
It can only go up from here for you guys. Season 3.
No.
Unlimited upward potential.
Unlimited upward potential. Hi,
Our
Dr.
Zoom
Clemens.
calls was the low. Mind you, we had good talks.
We did.
Quality was
anyway.
It was...
Yeah. I honestly forgot. Oh, yeah. Yes. We just have different like strengths.
Yeah.
And I think that Lauren, for her 7 years being here, her strengths really played like a huge because she gets ish done, and she like is no nonsense and like will do it. And those aren't my strengths. I have strengths in other areas, and so it'll be learning and it'll be good, and I'm excited. But yeah, so I think now, and I've shared this with multiple VAPA teachers, and I'll share it with here, and I think now our mindset should be to shift into sustainability.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, we've built it. Some sites stronger than others, and some teachers are more involved at their school than others. Okay, but now how can we now start to shift to sustain, and what does that look like? How can we make sure that people who kind of see VAPA as maybe important, how can we like change their mindset to seeing VAPA as very important and all this stuff?
For those of you that don't know what VAPA is, that is a California acronym that stands for Visual and Performing Arts.
I'm sorry,
just to throw that out there.
It
is a California thing.
Fascinating.
Yeah. People outside California don't usually know what that is.
What do they used to say instead?
I mean, I don't know. Fine arts, yeah, it depends on your state. It's a California thing. It's fine. I just wanted to throw that out there. Yes, but to your point, we are used to this volatility in our states where you get a VAPA program for 5 years maybe, and then the money runs out, and then they fire all the VAPA teachers. And if you do manage to have a teacher, it's like my kids' school where like, oh yeah, we have a music teacher starting in 4th grade who comes once a week and teaches instruments. I'm like, what kind of instruments? Still haven't gotten any info on what that looks like, so I'll find out since I have a 4th grader this year. Weird. But
I can give him a trumpet if you'd rather.
I was thinking, we were talking about this too when we were talking about Jonathan's weird classroom.
What element?
Oh my gosh, which you have the weirdest classroom in the district, I swear. It's got a desk.
Oh, that, yeah. Oh,
bolted to the floor in the middle of the room. So he's got like this long, skinny rectangle of a classroom with a freaking gigantic teacher's desk bolted to the floor. And he's asked multiple times for them to take it out. And the answer is...
The answer is no. First off, I like to call it the redacted desk. You can fill in the blanks, whatever that means, but there's only one that means to me. Regardless, it's bolted to the ground, and like the notion was that it's supposed to be a workspace, not a desk. When the school was first founded, it was supposed to be a teacher workspace, and so it's bolted to the ground. And I've received.
It's enormous.
It's huge. If you're watching, you know exactly where we're going.
We need more estrogen on this podcast.
Well, anyways. It takes about, I would say, arguably a fifth of my classroom. And I have the largest room of the school because they recognize that I need...
really?
Yes. Well, all the portables are the same size.
Okay.
So my classroom format is the largest of all the classes. Okay. Because I have a concert band.
But most of it's taken up with this giant...
But the desk takes up so much. And because I store a lot of my band instruments, the stands, the ukuleles, and also now because... and
there's like no shelving in there.
There's very little, just very little. And so if I got rid of the desk, that would open up so much space. But the notion is what would happen if I'm no longer teaching there.
And so that's where this is coming from. The answer from what's the department that we get rid of it? Facilities?
Facilities,
yeah, the
yes.
answer from facilities is, what are you going to do when you no longer have a music teacher? And Jonathan's answer, which I think is lovely, that was just in our little music teachers thread, was, what would happen if we normalize music education in California schools? Like, how about we stop assuming that we're going to get fired in 5 to 10 years, you know?
Yeah. But that's just the paradigm that so many have. Like we said, 35 years.
Yes,
35
my
years
entire
before
life.
us.
Yes.
And so, like, I think I love, this is more just focused on you, Mark. That I think that you are in the right position at the right time, more or less. Because as we mentioned earlier, you are amazing at listening. And after a year and I'm going to expect many more years to come, of just dichotomatic clashes of people not listening, people fighting for one end, I think it's good that we have someone in your position that is willing to listen to both sides and try to bring people together. We need that.
I guess my fear is that being this year coming out of the pandemic, or still in it, or whatever the heck is going on right now.
Mid-pandemic? I'd say mid.
All right, whatever. I'm over it. But it's obviously not going away because we just got more mask mandates, not less. Whatever. Is that it's going to be another kind of like, we went to this one side of the pendulum and it was like, all the VAPA teachers. And when we talked to Lauren for the first time, we like rehashed that summer where she was like scrambling to hire over 100 VAPA teachers in a year, in 3 months, pulling them from everywhere. And so I'm afraid that now that we've had this year and a half of distance learning, we're going to swing to the other side and be like, well, everything that's not standardized testing based, we're dropping, because we've got to get our test scores up and we've got to make up for learning loss. You know, that's the buzzwords.
It is, and I don't like it.
Can we all agree?
Yeah, we hate it.
Yeah, not a big fan of learning loss.
Unsubscribe.
But you want to see those test scores go up.
Yes.
Arts education. Arts education.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to do it. There's lots of schools of thought, and mine is like, there's a lot of trauma that has occurred nationally, and so one of the ways that we're going to come through that and kind of work through it is through the arts. And if we miss it, we're screwed.
Right. We're
setting a whole generation back.
Yeah. Yep. If we make them sit still in chairs this year and do math problems, we are missing what's important.
Well, math is important.
I agree, but there's different ways to teach it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think our teachers do a really fabulous job of doing it, but we can take it deeper with lots of VAPA strategies, and we can make it stick more. And I have said that my number one goal this year is making school a place they want to be.
It's a good goal.
Yeah. I want them to wake up excited to come to school. And so I just keep trying to think, like, how can I be part of that? And I try to be out in the hallways as much as possible. And I'm tired, you know, dealing with my own family and like everything that's going on in my own life. And I would like to kick back in my room in between classes and at lunchtime, but I'm like, can't do it this year. Like, I got to be in the hallways high-fiving them and elbow bumping, you know, waving at them, building relationships.
That's crucial for this school year, especially for those who just think about our first graders who they haven't, or maybe kindergarten is probably a better situation, who haven't had formalized education since preschool.
They were 3 when everything shut down.
That's small.
How is that to think about? Like 3.
And so like when they come into our classes, like it should be a bundle of joy.
It should be.
Yeah.
It should be. But they're having a harder time adjusting.
It's
the kids that were in kindergarten when everything shut down are now second graders. And so they didn't meet us face to face for that long. Yeah, it's a little wild to think about that.
I got my grades mixed up. No, you're right. I was trying to talk about first grade. They haven't had
I'm right, Jonathan.
See, this is going to happen.
I know. Without you,
I'm going to see that chair.
That's why.
So listeners,
that's why I'm just listening right now.
Get ready for the pew-pews, boys and girls.
I'll let you talk, but I know I'm right, Jonathan.
I will fight you.
I know you will, but I'll still be right.
So Brianna says that to me. I will fight you, and now Gemma's starting to say it. It's like, we shouldn't say that. So Gemma, I will fight you. No, let's not say that. Yeah, she starts preschool on Monday.
Oh, yay.
So excited.
I can't believe that.
I know.
Dude.
Wow.
I'm a big kid
She
now.
was just a baby, though.
Yeah, now she don't stop talking.
I know. They do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my kids are 9 and 10.
You got a 4th grader.
I know. What the heck?
Yep.
I know. They're up to my shoulders, almost 100 pounds.
How's that transition been?
Oh, it's different. When I pictured being a parent, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but when I pictured being a parent, I pictured like babies and little kids. I didn't picture preteens and teens, And so now I feel like I'm entering to this phase of parenthood that I just never even visualized, and I don't think of myself as that old, and I'm not that old. Like, people
we're
still say things like, "Oh, you're means. Still young."
We officially don't know. We're officially old because we don't understand Zoomer memes. Like,
yeah, it's true. That and like the emoji thing. Like, I've heard that just using the smiley face is like passive aggressive.
Dude, no, we're not going to talk about emojis.
Okay.
Well, no, it's fine. But like, yeah, kids have misinterpreted my emoji.
I was told not to use just a smiley face with my student teachers because they think it means like you don't really mean it. Like with my student teachers.
Oh,
like
fascinating.
Yeah, like if you just use the simple smiley face, they think you're being sarcastic. So if I'm like, I'm so excited to meet you, normal smiley face, or like that.
Wait, are you talking about the colons, like parentheses,
like
or the regular emoji?
Remember before there were emojis and we just used a colon and...
So they're talking about that's passive aggressive?
No, not that. Like the actual emoji, simple smiley face that replaced that.
So the non-branded emoji.
They use it ironically.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Fascinating.
If you're a Zoomer and you listen to this and I'm wrong, I am open to being corrected. If you're a millennial...
Add us at CH Classroom.
You could.
We want to know all about the emojis and perspectives.
Do.
Yeah, no. A student actually misinterpreted something that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was
we ran into that a couple times last year over distance learning, right?
Because we use emoticons.
We do.
This one?
Yes. That one is seen as ironic.
That looks like the Fallout guy.
This is the one that I always use.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
so the one with the curved eyes for our listeners, the one with the curved eyes.
The blushy cheeks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the blushy cheeks is better.
It's because it has more pixels. You place more intentionality to it. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either. I've just used the one with the cowboy hat.
Cowboy hat.
That probably means something different.
Ooh.
So
I just use
if that's bad, you should tell me.
Yeah, no, seriously. Help us out. We're old. We're old. My knees hurt. My knees hurt so
if
much.
You're too young to know what Oregon Trail is, then tell
Forge
us.
the river!
I've died of dysentery. There was an exhibit at the Natural History Museum it was the Museum of Us in Balboa Park, that is all based on Oregon Trail, and Brian and I were like in heaven.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest. I only played Oregon Trail 2. Oregon Trail when I was too young for. Like that was for the DOS computer.
You are the baby of the crown, huh?
Zoe, come back! I'm the baby. Mark.
I know, I'm the old lady here.
Yeah.
Do you need help crossing the street?
Probably. It's okay. Parker and Preston already make fun of that.
Oh.
Every once in a while when I say something ironically too old, Preston's like, I'm an old lady. And Parker grabs my arm. And I'm like, this is already starting.
But then you can really lean into that and just embarrass the snot out of them.
You know what's even more weird about the oldness? So I used to be the baby at my school for the longest time. There are now 3 teachers that are younger than me.
But babies grow up, Jonathan.
I know, but I won't.
But here's
Peter
the thing.
Pan syndrome.
Our listeners will be like, they're so young. But, okay, so we're on one end, I mean, we don't know what this means or what, all this other garbage. Sure. Anyway.
To our listeners, it's us placing 2 fingers to our
your pulse.
Elbow pit. The idea was that I believe it was a basketball player who was trying to showcase
ice in his veins.
Ice in his veins, exactly. So
I get sports.
I'm being cold here, giving cold.
Okay.
I'm sure there are a lot of people laughing at me right now.
That's fine.
Please at me. If you're laughing at me, I want to know who's laughing at me so I can block you. But Mark, continue. Go for it.
But then you look at our careers and we're still on the younger side of things.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that we're in a really sweet spot because
still young.
We are. No, we are.
I was saying.
No,
we're not young. We're still young.
No, as far as professionalism goes,
I'm sorry.
I would say even.
I interrupted Mark.
I was amplifying what Mark was saying. Excuse me. Mark, don't leave us. This is gonna happen.
I'm just gonna lean across the table, put my hand over his mouth.
I'm gonna call Brian. Just mute his mic. Mute the mic producer.
Just both of you will have a mute button for the other person.
They should. Okay, I'm not.
If you're asking for Brian's help, I win. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
You would call for Brian. Mm-hmm. No, but I think I agree with you, Mark. I think first off, we're still young. We're still yuppies.
I don't know what a yuppie.
Young upper professional something.
Upwardly mobile. urban professionals.
Urban professionals, yes. So the notion is like, we are still young, and I think the fact that, you are now the VAPA coordinator.
Yes.
You are up for...
At 23 years old.
Yeah.
Just kidding, I'm not 23. I would know what this means if I was 23.
I don't think maybe. But we're still, and like, we're in a sense, we're still young, but also we're in the sense we're entering that stage of like being rooted in our professionalism to where like I mentioned earlier, they're now noobs at our school site, and like, it's strange, but I now have a different position. You have a different position on paper, and also in multiple facets. For me, like, I'm still the music teacher. I'm also the unofficial IT person at my school site, but also like
the unofficial official IT person.
But
you're in high demand
for the new folks. Like, I'm also, because I'm now 7 years into my teaching profession, like, I have a different lens and I have a different position now, and it's interesting to walk into that. It's strange.
I think you're also in this position that you're not in a survival mode anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you're teaching, and you're starting to do the things, and you're starting to be able to build systems and build capacity in your students to do it. And I think you and I had this conversation, Crystal, like,
was I not in this here?
Huh?
Gosh, I wasn't in this conversation. I wasn't cool enough.
No.
I was baby. It's very exclusive.
Yeah, you had to be over a certain age.
Continue. Sorry, good job.
But we had this conversation. I think your 5th graders or 6th graders have only had music education. Like, I don't know elementary school without it. And so now we're in this position now where our kids don't know life without it.
Yep.
Like, music is all that they know.
Yes.
Or art
we
is all
have
that they
raised
know.
them.
Right. And so I'm sure now your 6th graders are much closer to doing the 6th grade standards than when you first started.
Oh, yeah.
And
we were talking about that at our PD. I think that's where we were having that chat.
Late, so yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, show up to stuff on time, dude.
I had to take care of stuff.
Okay,
punctuality
you can make
is
that
important.
excuse.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, but just like, now that we've essentially kind of grown up and you've taught a whole system of kids, like, okay, I know that this no longer works for this grade because it's like, it's either too high or it's too low or whatever it is. Yeah, I think it's you're in a really cool position.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really cool. I was helping out 6th grade. They're doing an event, and these kids were just messing around in a good way. It was fine. Like, some music was playing, there was just like dance to do it. It's like, man, I love these kids so much. And as I think about every single grade level to come, there are difficult cohorts, but like, man, I love each of these kids. And I think a big reason, partially because they're just awesome, but also partially because, like you mentioned, there is the community. Like, there's never been a year where they've never had VAPA.
Yeah. It's true. I took my first elementary teaching job in 2010, and I'd had a private studio before then. So I've actually been teaching for 15 years, which is crazy to think about. But when I got that first elementary job, it was at a pre-K to 8th grade school, and I loved the little guys, and I just will never forget the feeling of dread I had, like, standing outside the 8th grade classroom door about to walk in, because I would just be hit with a wall of animosity, like, as soon as I walked in, like, oh my gosh, it's her again. And I will never forget year 4, day 1, I walked in and I didn't have that anymore. They were happy to see me, and I was like, oh,
That's great.
I mean, raising them makes such a big difference. And I've thought a lot about our episode with David Frigo and how he talked about creating a culture of movement in your classroom. And I think that's what it really comes down to, is creating a culture of movement, creating a culture of singing. And it takes time, and it takes intentionality, and it takes raising them to make that culture. Because the culture is norms for a group of people. That's not automatic. And we have probably 6 new 6th graders this year. And it's always like, ooh, when we get a new 6th grader, because it's like, oh, it can really throw off the dynamic of the whole group. But because these guys have had me since they were teeny now, like, I might have like a little weirdness with the new kids the first couple weeks, but pretty soon they see that everybody else in the room, including the usual suspects, are like all in on the movement activities, and they're like, oh, this is what we do here.
Yeah, I actually had a situation where, because I've had new kids. My school has a lot of what do you call it? People from
transfers.
There's a name for it. Transfers, essentially transfer from different
overflow kids,
overflow,
basically.
Yes, overflow. And so that happens all the time. So we have new kids. Like, okay, cool. Then that happens. What you mentioned, like they amalgamate with the culture that's already established.
Mm-hmm.
I have a class this year because we have so many overflow kids. Not a single one of them have ever been with me in person.
Mm-hmm.
Only one kid has ever been with me online. The rest of them are entirely new.
Wow.
And so the first day I was like, oh man, is this going to be like my first year? Fortunately, they're great kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool, we can work with this.
At least one of them has had music since she was in kindergarten.
Because of that notion that I didn't have the culture of the class to back it up.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I think another element was because these were sixth graders, so it's like,
Yeah.
But because not just because they enjoyed music, which was a huge plus, but also because they saw how the other kids in the other classes interacted with me. I think that played a role as well to their warmth to accepting music.
Yeah.
I think that plays into them seeing that you're a trusted adult.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a key part. It's always a key part.
Yeah, well, and I think that we've grown in our teacher personas and we've grown in our confidence in our own profession, and that is worth a lot.
It is. There's still a lot of growth for me in confidence, but I can still sense it that like, oh man, I can recall how I would be acting if I was in my third year teaching. And like, post-pandemic, oh man.
It is, It's a totally different game. And that's, I think, the hardest thing to figure out when you first become a music teacher is like, how do you have this high energy classroom where things are allowed that aren't allowed in a general education classroom? Like, we want noise and we want movement, but you have to be in control.
You want a semblance of chaos, but it's controlled chaos almost.
I mean, yeah.
That's my word.
I mean, sure, chaos is a good word for it, but it's and controlled chaos. And we know it's creativity and it's ingenuity, but to an outside observer, totally, it looks like chaos. And even to a new teacher, it looks like chaos because it
feels like
it does, because there's a lot. But learning how to like shape that tidal wave, it's pretty powerful.
Do you think that first year kind of shock comes from a lack of real world experience in teacher programs?
So I've thought a lot about this. I think it comes from a lot of different things. I think that is a huge problem in the state of California because you can go through your entire undergrad and credential experience and not actually be in a classroom with kids until you do your field work, and not actually be in charge of that classroom of kids until you're a student teacher. And after which you've sunk 6 years of college education and debt into becoming a teacher. At that point, if you get up in front of them and you're like, oh my gosh, I've made a terrible mistake. Like, what do you do? So anyway, yes, that's a huge problem. Two, we are thrown into the same classrooms as general ed teachers, and it's a totally different thing. And even teaching secondary and elementary music is a totally different thing. And three, I think that this is true across the board, no matter what kind of teacher you become. The relationship between teacher and student is different than any other relationship a young adult has had to navigate in their entire life, because the rules for being a good person and building a good relationship up to that point have to do with being a friend. And when you are figuring out that very powerful and very important being a safe authority and that warm demander, like, I'm going to demand the best from you and I know you can do it and I'm going to do it because I care about you, that it's totally different.
It's learning that skill of you want them, essentially you want them to like you, but like you're not trying to get them to like you for the only reason of them liking you. Right.
Yeah. Basically, like, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to help you become a good human. And that's also an important shift to make as a parent. And I think that a lot of people are missing explicit instruction in what that looks like and how to do it. And so I've been kind of chewing on that lately. Like, how do I break that down to communicate that to a student teacher? Because I've had those talks with student teachers, and I have a bunch of articles that I've sent their way that made an impression on me when I was going through my process. But I think there's a lot left to be said about how to do that. And I think there is a formula, but I haven't cracked it yet. I'm working on it.
I wish there was a book that talked about culturally responsive teaching.
Yeah, well, that's also really good. Yes, Culturally Responsive Teaching for Art, Music, and PE is an excellent book, and everybody should have it for sure.
And I think in Zora Hammond's book, she talks explicitly about the warm demander and how it's not necessarily this pobrecito syndrome, but it's like, hey, you can do this, and like really holding the like standards high and really expecting students to do that, and then also just kind of making sure that your cognitive load at the end of the day is they're leaving more tired than you are.
Yeah.
And I had a professor in college say the opposite, and so I think I kind of had that, like, I need to make sure I'm leaving more tired than they are, else I'm not doing the work.
Nope.
And
that's a recipe for burnout.
Well, yeah, but then also like the cognitive load needs to be on them, and so like,
yeah, learning is exhausting.
Should be.
It should be. But yeah, warm demander is something that goes back to the 1950s, and I can't remember the name of the author, but I did just cite it in an article I wrote for the Echo, so I should probably look that up. I know. Yeah, you should check it out. Yeah, and I find it a very useful term, and I think about it almost every day. I want to be that warm demander. I want to be, kind, but not necessarily nice. I want to be safe, but not necessarily nice. Like nice is like, oh, it's okay, you can get away with whatever you want. Kind is like, I care about you, and you are going to do the best that I know you're capable of doing, and I will not accept anything less than that. Or
that decision was the wrong decision, and here's why.
Right. And it doesn't make you any less of a human in my eyes. And I know you can do better. Yeah. And so I'm going to help you get there. Yeah. Mark, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
I'm looking forward to continually building rapport with all the teachers.
Yeah.
I know that I have, well, I shouldn't say I know, that's a little confident, but like I feel like I have really good rapport with the music teachers, because that's, what we've been a part of.
Yeah.
And I have some rapport with some other teachers in other disciplines, but then there are some people who I don't know a ton about, and I'm excited to get to know them, and we've maybe conversed like a little bit. Cool. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I like helping people, I like supporting people, and this year's, it's been a challenge because of all of the craziness of the world, and so everyone's being stretched super thin, and I'm looking forward to maybe trying some new things with VAPA in general, and maybe taking us in a direction where we start to plant and start to lay that foundation for sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I just want people to be honest.
Totally.
If what we do is not working, like, hey, this isn't working, here's why.
Yeah, let's fix it. I like it. John, what are you looking forward to?
Reestablishing relationships, rebuilding relationships, and also reassessing what worked and what didn't work. And what works now that we've seen everything that's happened. And like, I feel like I can't go back to certain things that used to exist.
Yeah.
We've talked about in an earlier podcast, there's certain literature I can't go back to, but I think that's just focusing on the negative elements. I want to find literature that not just doesn't negatively affect students, but what's literature that positively affects students? What's not just literature, but what are things that, not manifestations, what are systems that can help bolster a student's self-efficacy, essentially. And so, because as art teachers, as VAPA teachers, we're in a very unique position, and we've said this several times, but like, I think this past year being in lockdown, teaching online.
You're still muted. Still muted. John, you're still muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Kid. But so like, I want to reassess, and I recognize this year is not going to be the year I this is going to be a blank year. It's the prefix is re, and reestablishing, re-understanding, and reassessing. What do I want to be as a music teacher? Because I'm in this profession now. I'm now I've taught for 6 years. I've seen what's happened. I've had relative success as a teacher as well. I've not just been in year one my whole time, and so now that I'm no longer surviving, how can I make this work best for the community I'm in, and how can I make this work to bolster them as people, and musicians as well. That's the mixture of, like, I feel like I've done a decent amount on making them better humans, trying to also go back into the leaning of making them also strong musicians as well. So it's like you only have 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so short.
Yeah.
And as we talked about also earlier, like with first graders, like they're pretty cool. They're in that pre-K stage that are slowly understanding. So it's a lot of just redoing things.
Totally.
And redoing and reassessing.
Yes, it has been a real shift. I've been thinking a lot about what you're saying, Jonathan, too. And I was telling my art teacher.
Am I not wrong? Am I not wrong?
You're not wrong. I'm just going to add to it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to add my little and.
You're going to make it better. Got it.
No, I'm not going to make it better. I'm just going to say what it means for me. And you don't have to agree. But I was telling my art teacher partner that before the pandemic, I felt so much pressure that I put on myself of like, I have to be the best at what I do, right? And I have to be amazing. And part of that is the fear of losing my job every 5 to 10 years when the money runs out. And part of that is I'm an Enneagram 3. And part of that is just like...
Preach.
Right? Like, I just need to be good at things, okay? And I want to make the world a better place. And being a music teacher is my chosen conduit through which I do that. But having come out of this last year where there was just so much to do and no way to do it all, and it is such a joy to be back in the classroom and able to put xylophones in front of them. And God, I miss the sound of Wharf instruments. Like, it just brings me life and joy to have them playing on those things again.
It's also nice just having them sing together.
Oh, their voices. Yes.
So nice.
Their sweet voices singing together. Yes. They sound like angels. I love it. And I am learning this year how to protect my energy in the middle of it. And I have gone from just framing it to like, how can I be the absolute best and help them be the absolute best, to how can I not burn out and how can I be kind to myself today? And it's really small things that I'm doing. Like, I'm playing music that I like when they come in. Like, I have a playlist that's like just my favorite stuff that's also kid friendly, that brings me a lot of life when I'm setting my classroom up or like transitioning in between, or I'm wearing really comfortable clothes that feel good when I move and they breathe. And I'm not allowing things that would have ruffled me before to ruffle me as much. Yeah. And I'm protecting that, and I'm not taking it personally. And part of that's growing up. But yeah. And
as
perspective is worth a lot.
Old,
still young.
And I remember like,
we are still young.
We were still young. But actually, no, I remember my PE teacher. Was that you? Congratulations, sir. Teeth whistling.
Mark wants to say something.
You need to put Corey Wong on your playlist.
He's already there.
But I was also whistling Forever Young.
Also, I think there might be 2 Corey Wongs. Are there 2 Corey Wongs, or does Corey Wong just play beautiful piano and also
John Batiste plays beautiful piano,
rock stuff,
and he plays funk?
Here, I'll show you my Between Classes playlist, and I'll show you. So I have Corey Wong and his beautiful piano music, but I also found this one by Corey Wong and Cody Fry.
Cody Fry.
Yeah. Is that the same Corey Wong?
Yeah.
No. Well,
really?
Well, the piano player is John Batiste. So Corey Wong made an album. Yeah. So he made an album.
Him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Cody Fry is the one singing. He plays guitar.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But their album Meditations.
Fascinating. So I did.
Meditations is gorgeous.
I went on Instagram asking a bunch of people like music I should listen to. You sent me Corey Wong, a former student of mine way back. She sent me Cody Fry. It's like, I hadn't listened to any of this. Like, oh my goodness! Like I was expecting K-pop from this kid, and it's like, oh,
Cody Fry's legit.
This is
good
dope.
stuff. I also have the Waylon Jennings.
Yes.
And Raisin Appalachia.
Okay.
Yes. Also Wolfpack. LAX.
Yes, that's Corey Wong. Well, he's part of that band.
I didn't know. Okay, that makes sense.
For that band.
State Line, The Dip. Also, Lord's Solar Power is so good.
Noted.
So good. Okay. Just happy stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
You were saying something though. You were saying that the whole growing up, and it reminds me of when I was in high school, graduating from high school, 2008, and also that same year, one of the PE coaches,
the year I got married. Okay, keep going.
That's us practicing wait time.
Yeah.
So, his name is Dave Libby. He's a PE coach. And something that he told all of us, I think I mentioned this in a prior podcast, but it was early on. He was talking about how even at his age, whichever age he was, but he was retiring and saying, even at my age, I'm still learning what it means to grow up. But his main focus was just that now that we are no longer high schoolers, no one is telling us what to do. No one is telling us how to learn. Some of us will be going to colleges, some of us will not. And it's up to us to continue to work on learning. And that's where it goes back into that whole growing up notion that even at his age, he is still pursuing what it means to be a better person as he's growing up at his whatever age.
Yeah. I think that maintaining that element of curiosity is the most important thing we can do for ourselves as we, no matter what phase of life you're in. That,
and also for our kids as well. I think so much like the information that we instill in our kids is just like by rote or by like, this is the information, piggy bank style, placing it. But instilling the curiosity is super vital, and I think that's one of the best parts about not just being a music teacher, but also an ORF teacher. Just that instilling curiosity of what does this do?
Right. I wonder what this means.
Yeah.
I wonder what this means to you.
I don't know about you guys. I think music teachers are pretty dope.
Oh yeah, they're my favorite people.
Saying.
Actually, that's not
admin,
true.
I want to say that as well.
No, it's fine.
Admin, no,
it's fine.
4-year-olds are my favorite people, but music teachers
fun.
are a close second. I do love 4-year-olds. They're really fun. Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
No,
Mark, we don't want you to leave us. Don't leave me alone with this guy.
So, Lauren has been on the podcast at least once per season.
Oh, yeah. We're pulling you back, and there's
nothing
nothing you
being on
can
the
do about
podcast for
it.
season 3.
Yeah.
So you better not come back.
Call me when season 4 rolls around.
Might be calling you before that.
So season 4 starts next week.
We will.
Each new week's a new season.
Hey.
Cool. Well, we will have a Spiccato after the break. I want to take a quick break and thank my husband, Bryan, who's been working behind the scenes producing these episodes every week on all of the platforms and on time. But you need to know that he is first a financial planner for Mission Trails Financial. Mission Trails Financial is a partner that seeks to guide clients in the journey to financial success. They believe that people need a financial advisor that aims to provide strategies for success. Mission Trails Financial helps people navigate investments, tax planning, and insurance. Imagine working with an advisor who isn't tied to specific brands. Mission Trails Financial has a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of their clients by providing independent, objective advice. Their mission is to help clients accomplish their financial goals. As Joe Vitale once said, a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. Do yourself a favor and set up a time to chat with Mission Trails Financial. Visit www.missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 to schedule a call. You'll be glad you did. We believe that leaning on professionals is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more information. It's after the break. So our Spiccato today is something that my children came home from camp with, and I can only assume that the person that was in charge of this camp and made this decision hates parents. Here's what it is. It is a golden karaoke microphone. Okay. It's the most obnoxious thing in the world.
Why?
Because it's a microphone, and it was in the hands of my 8-year-old.
Okay.
And it's very loud, and it makes a lot of different sound effects.
Can you show it to us?
No, because it accidentally ran into my wire cutters.
Ooh.
So now it is just a golden microphone.
How did that happen? How did it accidentally
It was so sad.
Ooh.
It's a really long story.
Sorry.
How would you use a golden microphone, friends? Would you like to hold it?
Certainly. So
the nice thing about this absolutely useless electronically golden microphone is that it does have some heft to it.
It does have weight. No, I like that a lot. Something that I do a lot with, and this is inspired by John Feyerabend, focusing on soloists, if they want, like, when it's time for someone to be a soloist, whether it's myself, whether it's a student, whether it's the SLP who walks in, I give them the microphone and they sing something. So it's a way of showcasing, and the fact that it's golden, I have a black microphone, but the fact it's golden.
Also a really good way to make sure that nobody interrupts music class.
Oh, peer pressure to sing. She mildly hates me for that.
Okay.
My principal stopped coming into my classroom after I made him sing all the time.
I remember, so actually last year, my principal walked into my digital classroom, and I saw, like, we have a guest, boys and girls, and she's going to do something for us. She doesn't know what it's going to be. And so I had my principal sing back an answer. Anyway, so we do a lot of arioso and also solo singing as well. So I think giving a student the microphone, first off, I love the heft.
Yeah, isn't it nice?
Also,
it's got batteries in it, so it's heavy.
And also the fact that, like, there's something intentional or not, there is essentially a, what is it? It's a guard almost. So, like,
yeah, well, that is a speaker, and
yes.
it is usually operational.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, it was operational.
And then an accident happened. Oh,
it was awful.
Sad story.
I know.
For another podcast. So, but anyways, yeah. So showcasing who is speaking, who is singing, who is whispering, etc. Having the student or the person sing, speak, whatever into the microphone is a good way for kids to just focus on the speaker, focus on the soloist, and so that only one person is singing. When it's duets, it might be a little more difficult, but that's
cool.
thought.
I like it.
Kirk.
We did an activity in ORF Level 3 where we had a movement with Joshua Block where there was a leader and everyone had to follow the leader in the movement. So where I first went with this is your leader with the movement who needs to purposely use the microphone in their movement, and those following need to follow, and then the leader throughout will hand off the microphone to a new leader.
To change the leader.
Okay, I like that.
That's fun. I like that.
Sorry, before you go on, Crystal, before you share, wow. They gave every single kid in camp a microphone?
Yes.
It's a baller move.
It's exactly the word I was thinking in my head. Baller move. All right.
It was terrible. At first, it was you were only allowed to use this in the middle of the baseball diamond because we live next to a little league field. And they didn't follow those directions.
And then an accident happened.
It's terrible. So I have two of these beauties. And so what I have decided to do with them this year. No, they're both gold. They're identical. They both say Camp Invention.
Okay.
Camp Invention. That was a poor move. But what I've decided to do is I've made a little plaque that says Vapa Rockstar. And so what my art teacher and I do is we have a system, a behavior system where the class can earn up to 2 stamps on their behavior chart by the end of the day. And then, they can lose 1 stamp or both stamps, or they get both. And we have just these little markers that I bought from Lakeshore that are like stamper markers. Okay. So it's just really fast for us to go in the hallway and go stamp, stamp. I'm a butterfly. She's a ladybug. And then I always stamp the kids' hands to go with it if they get them both. So anyway, at the end of every quarter, we do we call it the Bulldog All-Star Assembly, and we it's like a Student of the Month thing, but also we have like Bulldog Awards for citizenship and stuff. Yeah. So whoever has the most for upper grade and lower grade, most stamps on their chart, is going to be the Vapa Rockstar, and they get to have this in their classroom for the remainder of the quarter. Nice. So that's what it is.
I swear, if you ever make a product, make it weighty. This is a good weight.
It does. It feels good.
Otherwise,
right?
It feels like those Mad Cats controllers. You just don't understand what I'm saying.
That's true.
It's like you don't understand what I'm saying, do you?
I have no idea.
No, it's like it was like
you look good saying it though.
Okay, well, back in the day when you had friends over, you didn't want to buy a new Xbox controller or such. You had to get this third-party controller. For some reason, it weighed like 1 pound. It's like, why does this weigh so little?
It's true.
It lacks weight.
There you go.
So
properly weighted things in shoes.
In shoes.
Cole Haan shoes.
Are we gonna shop sometime together?
Oh yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Round of the week. All right, are we ready for our round of the week?
Sure.
Do it.
I'm assuming you guys didn't bring one.
No.
Okay.
It's very on brand for us.
I'm not in the music classroom anymore.
It's okay.
Crystal.
You're not. You know what? So something that I've embraced over the last year and a half is I like to write songs. And I'm going to stop being secret about it because I sing them all the time to my students, and now I'm sharing them with the world. So I'm going to sing you one of my new songs.
Don't be offended if we screw it up.
I'm going to be so offended.
As you should, but don't be.
This is why we're getting.
It's really easy. This is the follow. So this is what I sing when I need the kindergartners to follow me, and we're working on standing in a line because they're space cadets, and like 3/4 of the way down the line, somebody's not paying attention, and then they're like, "Oh, my line left me behind," and then they run and catch up, and it's just a mess. So we're working on paying attention and following. So I lead them on like follow Miss Pridmore walks, and we play follow the leader basically. So this is my song. Come, my friends. Come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully. Come, my friends, come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, come follow carefully.
Nailed it.
Should I take it higher? Come, my friends, come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully. Come, my friends, come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully. Carefully. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully. That's beautiful.
Nailed it. I'm so good at singing.
Should we save all of these outtakes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Come, my friends.
So wait, are we doing it
come
together
and follow
first?
me. You want to echo? Come, my friends.
Come, my friends.
Come and follow me.
Come and follow me.
If you want a new adventure.
If you want a new adventure.
Follow carefully.
Follow carefully. Should I be crisscross applesauce on the floor
Yes,
right now?
you should. Well, in my classroom, we don't call it crisscross. It's pretzel. So you could be pretzel. Or you could put your legs to the side
pretzels.
and go. You can go mermaid.
So the thing
or
is,
they could be sticking up in mountain. So mountain pretzel or mermaid. There's
Actually,
options.
Yeah.
Because crisscross isn't good for your hips.
Yeah, but it's up the legs and the hips.
My hips don't
No,
lie.
it's not good for my hips. It's true.
But pretzels are. Pretzels are good for your hips. Gosh,
No.
crisscross, I don't understand.
They're not good for my hips. If you know
It's
what I
because
mean.
you
Hey.
haven't given birth, but it's okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Let's try.
All right, so ready?
Come, my friends, come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully.
Come, my friends, come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully. Come, my friends, come and follow me. If you want a new adventure, follow carefully. Carefully. Nailed it.
Does it have a Z, friends?
Sure does. Yeah.
Love it, friends.
It's just the notes on my
Since
phone.
to be on brand, since we have to quote, Victoria Bowler every time.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. So, question though, Crystal, where can people follow you?
Oh, people can follow me at Finny Vappa on Twitter, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook on my name. How about you, Jonathan?
Come, my friends. Come and follow me. You can
Come
follow
follow
me
me.
at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman, on either Twitter, Instagram, also YouTube. But I'm guessing right now, since we're in person, there's going to be less of that stuff. But, I posted some stuff regarding the last spring music concert. So check that out.
Mark.
Got
a new place to follow him now.
You can follow the fine work of the Chula Vista Elementary School District's VAPA teachers at VAPA_CVSD.
Yes.
That's right.
Also, you should also check out our hashtag CVSD Arts. We do a lot. We post a lot of stuff, a lot of different snippets, vertical slices of the stuff that we do in CVSD.
If you want to see happy kids making music and art and drama and all kinds of coolness, that's a good one.
Their faces may be in like 144p for obvious reasons. But,
Yeah, we blur. We blur, but they sound happy.
They sound great.
They sound fabulous.
Mark,
Hey,
you'll be missed.
thanks, guys. This was so fun.
I'll see you next week during season 5, right?
Yeah, right.
Thanks to our listeners who have journeyed with us our first 2 seasons and the ones who will journey with you guys the 3rd season. I'm excited to be an avid listener. Yeah, I'm going to miss you. And
Miss you too.
See you in the flippity floppity.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye. The Chaotic Harmony podcast is a joint project between Crystal Pridmore and Jonathan Seligman. You can find us online at chaoticharmonyclassroom.com. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Give us feedback about what you would like to hear in future episodes. We're on all the socials. Find us on facebook.com/chaoticharmonyclassroom. You can find us on Twitter at CH Classroom, Instagram at Chaotic Harmony Classroom, and you can even find our episodes on YouTube. Chaotic Harmony is the name of our channel. Special thanks to Bryan Pridmore for his help with production and equipment. www.pridmoria.com.
Took my spot.
Did anybody do a round of the week?
No. My buzz does not exist,
I
Brian.
think there's more than one buzz going on with Jonathan right now.
Mark, I miss you so much.
Oh my gosh, we should have a segment where we talk with girls and John. Yes, we can mediate.
Where we reply to his dating app
Gosh,
to copy bagels.
I mean, this would get a lot of views.
It's my
This would
last
get some
episode.
views.
YOLO!
Oh, the ones that are left.
There's no more
the
tempering influences left on this podcast,
Zoes,
so
I think
we're
gonna
just
be a lot
gonna
of
knock
fun.
each other out.
And then Mark was like, I'm in the middle, and now it's like guns blazing.
Yep. Bring
I
it,
think
Sally.
Super hot
I
fire.
think when you record, one should stay like in that corner and the other corner.
Hey,
Hey,
no one puts baby in the
Yeah, no hair pulling, right?
There's nothing to pull.
That's why it's
Nothing to
funny. I promise I won't pull your hair.
At Finny Vappa.
I'm
Are we
thinking-
also doing an episode afterwards or no?
I could.
Okay.
I could easily do it. I have two ideas. One of them is we could do
our new VAPA coordinator sucks.
yeah,
God.
as soon as
worst.
you're gone, we're just going to start
We're
talking
just gonna
trash.
talk, and we're gonna actually get Colin Lauren.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. God, that guy doesn't
Hey,
know
Lauren, on the podcast right now.